because I really don't know what I would do if I didn't have some work that I had to get to.
Hello, hello, hello. This is Shirley Crawford coming to you with another episode of WorkHARDAholics. For those of you joining us for the first time, you might be wondering what exactly is a WorkHARDaholic. Well, let me tell you, because I made the word up. A WorkHARDaholic is someone who is always doing something. We don't rest on our laurels. We don't wait for the world to come to us. We take it to the world. Now, today, it's a very special episode because for the first time, I have a guest. Aren't you excited to know who it is? Well, let me tell you. Today I have with me Dr. Hollee Freeman. And so she's the director of the Math and Science Center. The reason she's here, because when I had to think about who is a workaholic, this is the first image that came to my mind. I see her everywhere. She's doing everything. She's dancing over here. She's now creating programs for children. She's writing. She's an author. She's running a center. She's fundraising. She was the LMR servant leader last year. She's everything and she's every woman. She's everywhere. And she is definitely WorkHARDaholic number one. So please join me in welcoming our first guest, who we are so honored to have, Dr. Hollee Freeman.
Thank you.
Yay!
Thank you for having me.
I am so honored that you could take the time to join us. So if you don't mind, take a minute, tell them all about you.
Let's see. Hollee Freeman. As Shirley said, I'm the executive director at the Math Science Innovation Center, where I actually was a student when I was in high school. So it's
Me
a nice
too.
kind of, I know, like a lot of people are students there. It's so amazing. And it's a wonderful and wonderfully challenging job, but the challenging part really has pushed me to do some of the things that you see me doing in the community. So I do dance, I do a lot of gardening, I do a lot of biking. I'm a connector, so I have lots of activities that I do with friends, and I connect friends. And so I am a work-hard-aholic.
Yes, most definitely.
I am. And I think for me, to clarify what that means for me, is that I do try to have a balance between working hard and relaxing hard. I used to, but I don't just work all day and then go home and work all night. Like, that used to be my life. But what I try to do now is I work really hard at work, and then I find time to recharge. So most people do think of me as a work-hardaholic because they don't see the other part of things that I do, reading books on the deck or gardening, just turning soil over and over, just having those moments.
They clearly aren't following you on Instagram.
They're not, because I do, it's like,
Yes.
I want people to know that, like, working hard, and I think kind of the working hard is the, I always want to do my best. I always want to have the product that I have my hands in be the best. And so I will work at something until it's finished. And that's the work hard part. I just will keep going until it's finished in the way that I think it should be finished. So that kind of the good is the enemy of the great thing comes up sometimes, where I just have to say, like, okay, this is good enough. Can't be perfect. But so I do like put all of my energy into the activities with which I engage.
And that's a big part. As a workaholic, I'm sure you all have heard me talk about it before, but that whole piece of I must be excellent. And so sometimes when you're trying to press forward and get it all in,
You just need to get it done.
sometimes you have to let it go
But you know
and
what?
get it done.
You know what? I was thinking about where that comes from, and I remember, I'm in my early 50s. I'm 53. I'll be 50.
Whoop,
No,
whoop.
52. I'll be 53 soon. And I had parents who grew up in Richmond or in the Richmond region, and they really battled a lot of kind of segregation, integration, working on farms. And I remember doing homework, and my dad would say, do it again, don't use the eraser, do it. Like, I always had to do everything to perfection, because that's the way that our folks and our grandparents knew that we could get ahead, so to speak.
And it's hard to have excuses when you've seen the people before you who had less resources, less money, less privilege, less access. And then to dare to say, oh, like, look at me, I can't do it. Like there is that C word is like the biggest curse word possible.
And that's where I get it from. And for a long time, you know, when I was in college, I had all the work study jobs, when I was doing all the school work, and I was doing I've always had multiple things going on. But I would say in the last 2 or 3 years, I really tried to figure out the balance in the working and also in the resting and relaxing and being still.
And so we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves because we're excited. We're gonna get more to that when we get back to the work hard, play harder. But for now, you always know we start off every week with our word for. Okay, so normally it's the word for the week, but normally this is a weekly episode. But now that we have this special episode, this is our word for the month. All right, so transition with me, people. Work with me. Be flexible. So Holly's gonna let us know what her word for the month is.
Okay. So I have been doing a lot of weather watching.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe it's like the whole pandemic thing, but like we had a mini baby tornado that came through here recently. It's been raining, it's sunny, it's windy, like the clouds are doing all kind of cool stuff in the sky. Right, it's all kind of cool stuff. I've made some videos for students and families who are at home about that. So I'm kind of fascinated with the sky right now. And so someone called me I think I have to look it up, a nephophile.
Okay, I don't know that one.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. I have to ask Google.
It'll work for us.
But a nephophile is someone who really loves clouds. Yes.
I have never heard this word. You heard it here first, people, because most of you have probably never heard this word before either. Nephophile.
Nephophile. Maybe
is
it's
that
not the
N-E-P-H?
N-E-P-H-O phile. P-H-I-L-E.
Okay.
So, so I've been just looking at clouds and learning a lot about clouds and how they occupy different areas of the sky, different stratosphere, different parts of the stratosphere. I talked to a local artist who paints clouds about why he paints clouds and what kind of inspirations he draws from clouds. So I've been like really getting into clouds. There's a lady that I know that's
only the doctor. Only the doctor.
That's the WorkHARDaholic part. I just go for it, and I'm like, there's a spoken word rapper Alex James who wrote a beautiful poem about clouds. So she's gonna like do the spoken word on video, and I'm gonna push that out through the MSIC. So I think that's the workaholic part. So it's not necessarily working from sun up to sundown. It's finding something that you really love and just trying to learn as much as you can about that thing, just being persistent in learning.
And that goes back because we're always talking about, as a workaholic, we do more than the average bear, right? So the average person would have thought you might have done as much to come up with the word, but would you have thought to contact the artist, then to reach out further to get the spoken word artist in addition to that? So now we're going to have it in a visual and an audible format. Only right here. Now you know why she's here. If you wonder at all, now you know. All right, so one of the other things that we always like to talk about here is our time tool technique, right? So because as a workaholic, you have to imagine, how does Holly do it all? You have to imagine, because I often imagine. Like people talk about how much I do, I sit down and I'm like, how did she make it to this event? Or I will see her at the event. It's always something happening. She was also one of the TEDx Richmond, the TEDx Great Street Women speakers last year. And so like I'm trying to tell you, she's doing it. Stuff you're thinking about, she's already doing and moving on to something else. So how do you manage it all? What's a time tool technique? It's something for time or something for tool or resource, just a technique that others can use. They might not be able to get to your status, but at least to be able to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, so I'll say two things. One is, and I try to live this out. It doesn't always work, but while other people are saying, I should, I just do it. I remember teaching in a classroom and someone would say, oh, I should write a letter to the parents that explains whatever, fractions. And I was like, okay, let's do it right now. Go to the computer, write the letter. Is this good? It's good. And I would just do it. That gets me into trouble sometimes because I do move faster than other people.
And probably administration.
Yes, and I sometimes do faster than myself. And so, like, I'm all the way down the road. I'm like, oh, I should have actually stopped to, like, really figure that out. But I just do things, like, I'll just do things. instead of waiting. It takes me, and I do things pretty quickly. Like I can write quickly, like I can, I do things quickly. So it doesn't take me, I don't perseverate over things, I guess I should say. I just do it. So that's one. My time tool technique is a new tool that is in Google. I hate to keep saying Google, but it's in Google Keep. And so I have a little to-do list. And it has things to do today. Call Gloria, email about the book club, and some other stuff. Then I have things I want to accomplish in 2 weeks. Finish my business blurbs, write the summer curriculum, right? And then I have a larger to-do list. I'm gonna do the paperwork for the Richmond Business Center. I'm gonna follow up with Josh and Julie. So I break, and there's exercises on here, yoga is on here, writing is on here. So when I wake up, I know what I want to accomplish today is this, and this. And I'll just do it.
But let me ask, because so Google has a lot of stuff. I don't have Google Keep. So is that formatting of the to-do list they created, or is this how you're using it?
It's how I'm using it. So I think that anybody, adopt it if you like, but when I wake up in the morning, I think about here are the things I want to do just today. And they're just the important things. I need to call Gloria. Just need to do that. And then I have, and I'm organizing my life in 2-week stints, since we're in the low pandemic situation. I'm just doing, all I can handle is 2 weeks. So the next 2 weeks, I want to make sure I exercise, 6 times. I want to do yoga 6 times. I want to write, 3 times. I want to, whatever. And then I have, what's the longer, bigger thing that I want to do? I want to finish my website. I want to, right? So I break it down to things I want to do today, things I want to do in the next 2 weeks, and things I want to do kind of in the larger term. That's how I'm organizing my life right now.
Okay, I have to give that a try. I don't know about you, but I'm always looking for some way to manage my time better. So even though I'm great, I could be better. You could always be better. So I'm going to try that.
And I make sure I put in time, in my list, it's clear out the garden bed, make sure you mulch the whatever. And then I'll just look there and oh yeah, I forgot I was going to mulch. And I don't always get through everything, but at least it's there for me to know I didn't mulch. I didn't mulch last week, so I'm definitely going to do it this week, and it moves up to the top. So it's not just stuff for work. It's also things that I want to make sure that I do. Now I just read a lot, so I don't put that in there because that's going to happen anyway. But things I want to make sure that I do, I put them in my list. And then I figure out is it a now, a little bit later, or is it a way later?
Yeah, I think I like those 3 categories.
Yeah, they're working.
And let's not put everything into the way later category, people. That's not going to make it happen.
Right.
All right, so now, of course, one of my favorite sections, it's our book it moment. And so what books are you going to share with us, or what book or books? I thought I saw more than one, so I'm saying plural.
Yeah, then I was the WorkHARDaholics always do a little more. So it's supposed to be she said bring one book, but I was ooh, wait a minute, I like this. Okay, so I have a few.
Okay.
But I'll do them quickly. So Island of the Blue Dolphins is my favorite book from childhood. And when my daughter, who is now 19, when she was in 2nd grade, so that's 5, 6, she wasn't loving reading. I was this is not gonna happen on my watch, so what can I do?
You said she didn't love reading?
She didn't.
Oh, I can't
She was a recalcitrant reader. And I was okay, this is not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. So I got a group of moms and their daughters together, and we just started reading books. And this was the first book that we did in the Mommy and Me book club. And so, at that point she's 2, so we're sitting together, we're reading, I'm reading, and then we had the book club, we're talking about the book, we're doing activities about the book. And that book club stayed together until the kids were in high school, and then everyone kind of moved to a different
But you have another book club now.
But I do have another book club now. So Island of the Blue Dolphins is my favorite book from childhood, and then and it's just a girl and her dog really are on an island trying to survive, much like what we're doing during the pandemic.
I've never read the book.
And it's a true-ish story, because the person who they talk, I won't give the story away, but it's a true-ish story, and there's another there's a sequel called Zia. And the story ends up in Santa Barbara, California, but it started on an island in French Polynesia or something. It's a really good book about survival.
All right, so she's added one more book to your libraries, but wait, there's
Sandra
more.
Cisneros. OMG, The House on Mango Street.
And you thought I was excited about books. See, look.
I think it's going to be a movie. I want to actually do a class on this book. The House on Mango Street is a book about a family moving from the Caribbean, from Puerto Rico, I want to say, I think Puerto Rico, maybe Dominican Republic, to Brooklyn. And they and she just had these like just little vignettes about what's happening in the community. So I want to do like not just like house on Maple Street, but house on your street. Like what's happening in your apartment or your house or your neighborhood during a pandemic? What are you noticing about other people, dogs, cars, the air, like whatever.
So you all heard it here. That might be Holly's next book.
This might be my next book. And then in the book club, I run a book club, and we read this book, Women Who Dig, Farming, Feminism, and the Fight to Feed the World.
Oh, wow.
I'm a pretty serious gardener. And I grow a lot of my own food. Not a lot of my own food, but I grow some of my own food. And we read this book about women farmers all over the world. It is an amazing book that really highlights women and what they're doing around feminism and around feeding their, not just their family, but feeding folks in their community. Mm-hmm. So from Uganda to Canada to Namibia to like Costa Rica, like they're just, women are just lifted up, not just about farming, but also about the societal issues around gender in farming, water, land conservation, all that. It's an amazing book for people who want to know a little bit more about farming around the world. So those are my 3 books.
And I know nothing about farming.
I'll grow you some food and you can cook it, because I can't cook. I cannot cook.
Okay, this might be a partnership we can work with. So, but with that in mind, because I have a feeling that part of your relaxation, part of your play harder is your garden.
Yeah.
And so this brings us to our work hard, play harder moment. So what are the things that you do? So sometimes when I discuss this section, I'll talk about the fact that I'm not in balance, because every once in a while I'm not.
Yeah, every once in a while I'm not.
Yeah, so I don't mind being the poster child for, hey, this is what you need to fix. Or at this time we talk about ways that we do our balance. So I would love to hear from you about what are the things that you're doing in the midst of everything else.
Yep.
Including a Spanish speaking club. Did we mention that?
Yeah.
There's lots that we might not be mentioning. Just know there's a lot that happens on Holly's
It's
side
all
of the
connected
street.
though. So because part of my being in balance, so it's like there's pre-pandemic and there's like pandemic. And in the pandemic, I'm a little less balanced. I'm trying to figure it out. But like the Spanish club, it's a walking club, and so walking is something that I enjoy. And also like showing people different parts of the city, and I get to practice Spanish. And so everything does like double duty. So that kind of works for me. So, I was biking a lot. That really was relaxing to just go out on the Capitol Trail and just like bike. Now during the pandemic, I'm trying to figure out like how to stay in balance. And some weeks, some like 2-week blocks, I'm like, yes, some I'm like, ugh. The thing that's really bringing me joy now is gardening. So I do a lot of gardening. And a lot of kind of sitting by the fire pit and just kind of chilling with Danielle.
You have to go check out her Instagram page, because
the fire pit is pretty rad.
Sitting around the fire pit.
John and Danielle like.
And I was like, I think I'm inviting myself over.
I know. It's like, can people come and just be like 6 feet apart? I'm also trying to sit still, right? Like look up at the sky. Yeah. What kind of birds are in the sky? Trying to do that also, even though like reading a book and having those moments of quiet is important. Those moments are important. I'm also trying to just be still, not do anything, and just think so I'm trying to do more of that. So every day I do like a little 15 minutes of grace. So Sheila Battle has this 15 minutes of grace process that she shares with people. So I'm trying to just sit for at least 15 minutes a day. Just be quiet, which is really hard to do. To not like what's the dog doing? And like, ooh, what am I gonna eat? And squirrel, right? You have to like sit there and whatever. So I feel like with everything going on in the world, it's harder for me to be in balance. Mm-hmm. But I'm really working at it, and really just trying to take those moments of stillness, quietness, time to relax. To quiet down some of the noise that's happening in my head, and then in the stillness I can figure out like which are the pieces that I want to pull out to run with, instead of having it like all over the place. That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, well here's something that I don't normally ask, but I'm really curious. It's my own social experiment question. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
So that's a great question. So everyone would say I'm an extrovert. I am an extrovert. Like, I like being out.
I was
like,
going to say you're an extrovert.
I am
but
an
I was like, I could be
extrovert.
wrong.
I
Because
am
I'm
a
an
total
introvert.
extrovert. I'm a total extrovert. And I like my quiet time. So when I'm done, I'm done. So I might be out at the ICA doing an event, and then I'm like, oop, it's 9 o'clock, time for me to go. Like, even if the most fun thing is happening, I just like, I get to peak fun, and I have to leave and go back.
Down time.
Yeah.
It's
So
pre-programmed.
I'm an absolute extrovert, but I also have learned to say no to things, even things that I don't like, dang, that would be really fun to do that, or that's a cool thing. I'm like, nope, I need the time to sit. I feel a little tired. There's something saying don't go. So I'm trying to listen to those voices in my head, to that voice in my head, in my body really, to just say, yeah, that would be like amazing, but I can't do it because I need time to just center and be with myself.
And in that vein, I'm going to ask, we're wrapping up, folks. I know you want to hear more. You're going to have to look Hollee up. She's going to give you her information so you can check her out online. But in the meantime, until you get to reach her that way, what's the one piece of advice that you would give someone to help them be more productive and live in balance?
I think it's in the quiet times that we get messages about how to be productive, and how to follow the threads that where our passion leads. I think you can't find that when you're like rushing around and trying to be everything for everybody. So I think my piece of advice would be to like take some time and sit still, just think and be, and then let the information come to you, and then you'll know how to deal with it. It's easier said than done, granted, but I think that's what I would do. Just
But
sit
it must
still.
be done, and that's
Yeah, I
the
think
one.
everyone needs to just sit themselves down somewhere.
Sit
Like your
yourself
mama
down.
would say, sit
I know,
yourself
that's what I was
down.
thinking. I was thinking, that's what my mother would say. Sit yourself
Sit yourself down
down
somewhere. Just sit down for a minute. Just relax. I think we need to relax a little bit.
Oh, I think that sounds good. Okay, Hollee, let them know how they can find you. What are your handles?
Okay, so
And we'll post them too, don't worry, in case you're not writing down right now.
so the easiest one is just Facebook, Hollee Freeman, HOLLEE. I also have a photography business, so there's HolleeFreemanPhotography.com. And then Instagram, it's Pura Vida Amiga. So it's, go to Facebook and then we'll take it from there, because that's over there somewhere.
If you're not remotely familiar with Spanish,
Yeah,
that might challenge you just a little bit.
Yeah.
But we'll make sure they're all connected, and we'll make sure that we connect it in. So don't worry if you don't get it right now. I promise you, before this goes live to you all, you will have that information.
Yeah.
So once
Facebook,
again,
the Math Science Center. I mean, you can find.
which is one of my favorite places.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool place.
But when I went, they didn't have the I. The innovation was
It was
the
Mathematics and Science Center.
Yes, and I loved it too.
I did too.
But we're gonna get ready to say goodbye. So once again, we want to say thank you.
Thank you
to
for the
Dr.
invitation.
Hollee Freeman for being our first guest. But she's that special that she deserved the #1 spot. That's just how it goes.
Thank you. And when I was trying to start my my writing business, I came to you, and you totally helped me. You were like, do this, don't do this. You're good. Okay, go. And so that was very helpful. So anything that you ever need, I'd be more than happy to assist. And I'll probably be calling you again for more help.
Well, you know where I am.
I do.
And this is what I love. See, we talk about like clients. What I love about this person is that when you tell her, she goes and does it.
I do.
The next day she was out. She was gone. I was seeing stuff
That's the
online.
WorkHARDAholic part. Just do it. Like, just do it.
Just do it. That's
No
our theme.
waiting.
That's our theme.
Yeah.
All right. So I know you're sad to see us go. That's Carol would say.
Yeah. You do the ear thing.
I know, right? She said that she did that to say hello to her grandmother.
Oh, really?
That was their
Oh.
sentiment. I don't have anyone to say hello to. I love you all. All right, but as I always say, live better, do better, be better, and happy entrepreneuring. Ta-ta!
Because I really don't know what I would do if I didn't have some work that I had to get to.